Moving on to our next question. I can see America still making itself felt by continuing to interfere with the international affairs of their allies, neutral countries, even in superpower countries. Just a few weeks ago, they tried to carry out a military coup in Turkey and provoked unrest in Armenia and, if I pronounce it right, Kazakhstan. However, to a rapidly growing audience, it's becoming increasingly evident that the US is a much weedier nation, especially when comparing them to 40, 50 years prior. Washington tried to prevent Brexit and failed. The Golanist mutiny in Turkey also ended in failure. The entire Middle East is now a total disaster. We seem to be shifting towards a post-American world. So I have a clearer understanding. Dmitry, please explain the following. What is the U.S. currently attempting to accomplish? And secondly, what will our place be in a paradigm-shifting post-U.S. world? And please touch on how does this affect Russia's place in the new era?
Well, what the U.S. sold as its main product since World War II was stability, financial stability with the dollar as this indestructible world reserve currency, political stability ensured by the presence of U.S. troops all over the world, and so on. And then at some point it stopped working. So instead they switched tactics and decided that their product now is going to be instability. So it's sort of like they became this mafia that comes and says, nice country you have, would hate to see anything bad happen to it. And that sold pretty well too. You know, mafia operations tend to be functional on some level. But then it stopped working, and now more and more countries around the world, starting with Russia, have started to say no to the United States quite successfully. And Turkey's finger in the eye most recently was the most successful. There was for a while this Color Revolution Syndicate run by George Soros and various U.S. NGOs that produced regime change in various countries around the world. So they did Armenia, they did the Ukraine twice, a variety of other countries. They tried to do Russia and did not succeed. They tried to do Belarus. That was a joke. And they're still trying to do that. But since then, the political technology for neutralizing color revolutions has been very highly developed. I write about that in my latest book, Shrinking the Technosphere. There's a chapter devoted to that. So now they can't even do that. So what the Americans now have is a mental health problem, because they can't actually process the idea that they're no longer able to bully countries around the world. And this is causing them incredible mental distress. And you can see that in the establishment, for instance, where all of these State Department operatives signed a letter saying that we should bomb Syria to get rid of Bashar al-Assad. Now, if you think about it, you know, these are diplomats. Diplomacy is the art of preventing war by talking. So now you have these diplomats who are arguing in favor of war. Okay, this is like an undertaker arguing in favor of eternal life. You know, it just doesn't compute, doesn't make sense. So what this proves is that they're crazy, they're insane.
Mm-hmm. Dmitry, moving forward with the next reader's question. The International Criminal Tribunal for Former Yugoslavia, ICTY for short, recently pardoned the late Slobodan Milosevic.
Milosevic.
Yeah, Milosevic, yes, okay. Milosevic, former president of Yugoslavia, demonstrates once again that we should not take NATO statements as anything other than deceptions. For over 20 years, we've been led to believe that Milosevic was the genocidal dictator behind all the deaths in the Balkans in the 1990s. The first part of NATO's mislead is the fact that Milosevic was a democratically elected leader in a country where more than 20 political parties operate. After more than 20 years, the official conclusion states Milosevic was completely innocent of all the heinous crimes he was accused of, yet no official announcement or press conference regarding Milosevic's pardon ever took place. Even the ICTY buried it deeply in a 2,600-page verdict pertaining to the trial of Bosnian Serb leader Radovan Karadzic. Karadzic, thank you. Karadzic, gotcha, was ultimately convicted of mass genocide crimes against humanity, not Milosevic. Actually, all throughout his time in power, Milosevic's goal was to build a greater Serbia, but to try and keep federal Yugoslavia together, as the ICTY now readily acknowledges. So, Dmitry, please share your views on this latest NATO fiasco and why almost nobody recognizes the rather obvious pattern that's been forming over the decades. Thanks for helping with the pronunciation.
Well, the entire War Crimes Tribunal is basically a political organization. It has nothing to do with justice or anything like that. And it's based on a double standard, which is that, foreign leaders can be war criminals when they commit war crimes, and even when they don't commit war crimes. Whereas Western political leaders, such as Tony Blair, such as Dick Cheney, George Bush Sr., Bill Clinton for his bombing of Yugoslavia, Barack Obama for his drone war, and various other things, they can't possibly be war criminals. Okay? So there's zero legitimacy that this organization has in the eyes of the world because it is basically partisan. It is basically there to pursue a certain policy, and that policy is to make a spectacle out of leaders that are not favored by the West. So the fact that they eventually had to admit that Milosevic was innocent, shows something. I don't think I would go as far as saying that it shows good faith. If they acted in good faith, they would basically put Tony Blair on trial pretty quickly. So if that happens, then maybe I'll reconsider. But as it stands now, it's a completely partisan political organization that has absolutely no legitimacy.
Dmitry, my next subscriber asks, and I like this question. Barry, first off, thanks for the invite to form a question and also for introducing my whole family to Dmitry Orlov's blog post. It's a great source of truth. Here's my question. Over the past few decades, it seems that no matter how immoral the horrific acts have been, still a large majority remains ignorant. Whether it originates from the U.S. war machine or NATO doesn't seem to make much of a difference. A few of the many atrocities I'm referring to are Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Baltics, etc. There's just too many to list to mention on the purpose of this question. With the death toll now exceeding 1.3 million lives and still climbing, the vast majority would rather spend their time in front of the TV, further numbing their minds with sports, and if you want to call it, entertainment. How do people like me raise awareness? I'm confident both of you, at least from time to time, have shared in this frustration. I know we're a minority, but when a leader like Putin recently mentioned in a speech, I don't know how to reach you people, a speech presented to a group of foreign journalists, what chance do I have? I'm appreciative of both your websites and for the work that you do. All I want to do is help people become aware of where we currently stand as a world teetering on its edge. We're at a crucial point in history. We all have to do our best at making people aware of how we've been duped for so long. If we fail in doing this, we're headed for a major war. Any ideas would be most welcome. Dmitry, it's your turn at bat on this one. You want to first take a stab at this? That's a good question. I like that.
It is. It has a lot to do with America's national character and the way it has sort of positioned itself as, the country of the American dream, which is that basically you can ignore the world. You can You can hide on the other half of the other side of the world from where the action is. Never suffer any consequences from fighting wars, except maybe some people coming back in body bags, but you sort of ignore that too. Um, Ignore the veterans because their sight is displeasing because a lot of them come back damaged. Just basically ignore everything. Live in your little ticky-tacky house behind a white picket fence with a green lawn in front of it that you mow all the time, compulsively, and go shopping and do your stupid job. Watch television. Ignore the world. That's basically the prescription. And uh, this ability to shelter yourself is treated as some kind of a sacred right in the United States, and anybody who disturbs, the eternal peace of the American suburbanite is seen as some sort of extremist. Um, it's a hard problem to solve. I think a good first step is to just basically try something, and so a good thing to try to do is to scare the crap out of people. Explain to them that U.S. foreign policy stands a really good chance of getting them and their families and everybody they know killed in about 30 minutes, and that this could happen at any time, all because of this idiotic jobs program known as the U.S. military needing more and more money all the time and doing stupid things to justify its existence. So that is a very important point to get across, because if people think about it a little bit, they they realize that there are a lot of things that are important. For instance, the rights of LGBTQ people, or gay marriage, or abortion rights, or what have you. Those social things that people fight over all the time. Okay, they're important, but they're not important to dead people. If you're dead, it doesn't matter whether you're an LGBTQ dead person or, a homophobic white redneck person. It just doesn't matter. You're just a corpse. Okay? So that is a very important idea to get across, that some things are more important than others, and keeping alive is pretty important.
Dimitri, though, for the viewers, I want you to touch on the point at your level of popularity before this happened, and even now. Does it still occasionally get under your skin that you just can't reach people, or are you beyond that, Dimitri?
I think I'm pretty well beyond that. For me, I do what I can. You know, Doing the impossible is you know a ridiculous thing to try.
Hmm. Yeah, I myself briefly, I just found my biggest mistake was initially believing that people actually want to be informed, and I kind of work with the people that do, and kind of like a domino effect. But a lot of people just don't want to be informed. They want to keep their head in the sand.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of different people. Everybody's different. There's kind of a constant to it, which is people don't like being informed about things they can do nothing about, and they also don't like being informed by people who know everything or seemingly know everything but don't do anything about it. They're called hypocrites.
Yeah.
People who, yeah, the people, for instance, who know all about global warming, and what they do about it is fly all over the place to talk about global warming.
Yeah,
Okay, fly at a conference.
I'm
You know,
laughing. Yeah, the activists who are wearing leather belts and shoes, right? Right, animal
yeah,
activists. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay,
people who talk.
you're
Yeah, and
you
I want to
got
expand on this because it, this is the way they're destroying the legitimacy of everyone who tries to inform people. Okay, so if you're talking about near-term human extinction, and you see it fit to fly to New Zealand to give talks all the time, you're making it worse, and everybody sees that and says, okay, why are you driving me to extinction if that's what's going on? Okay, are you trying to kill me? And if you're trying to kill me, why should I listen to you?
Mhm.
So there's this automatic delegitimization that goes on among many of those who see their function as one of informing people.
Thank you, Dmitry.